This week on Royal Color Sales, we go over the true cost of a free boat, what we need, and start planning the rebuild. Stay tuned to the end of the video for a short blooper reel. Hey guys, I hope you liked the new intro. We're going to be doing that from now on, just spending 10-15 seconds covering what's going on in the video and showing some footage. This video's format's going to be different than the rest. I was working on some background work and realized that the list I was making was perfect for a video and perfect for transparency. This list here that we're going to go over includes what we know the boat needs and approximate costs on that. On that front, anything on the list is subject to change. They are not permanent, and the prices are not accurate necessarily. Most of them are guesstimates. Estimates are straight up unknown. That being said, if you guys know anything on the list that you have a recommendation for brand or consideration I need, let me know down in the comments. Also, if you think I just outright forgot something, please add it below. The better this list, the better the boat will be in the long run. I'll include this copy of the list in the beacons.ai link in the description below if you want to have a look directly at it. The first section we're going to get into is the electrical. On that note, I want to announce that I'm doing a live stream on Twitch and YouTube for my birthday on July 13th. That's Saturday. We're doing it 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. That's GMT -4 for you guys over the pond. I look forward to seeing you there. Let's jump into the electrical section of the video and get to it. So the current electrical system in the boat is missing. Here's some footage of that. We just got random wires hanging out. A lot of them are cut midships near the head, so they don't even run all the way up. So we're going to rebuild the wiring from ground up. We're doing that on the live stream on Saturday. So the first three items on the list here are solar panels, charge controller, and deep cycle batteries. I have these things. I also have some of the USB ports and a 24-volt inverter from a previous project. I'll include a little picture of my solar-powered e-bike here that I'm getting all these parts from. So those parts of the electrical are sorted. I'd like to extend the amount of deep cycle batteries we have from 100 to 100 amp hour lithium batteries to a minimum of 4. 6 would be better. We're going to jump out of order in the list here. We're going to do lighting next. So I've picked these LED strip lights here. Found these guys on Amazon. They're $50 each. They're waterproof, IP68 rated, and most particularly they match a set of puck lights that will also be installed in the boat. They run on the same app so that the tablet can control the color of the lighting, all that. We definitely need to make sure we have red for preserving night vision and white, bright white. I want all of the lights on the boat to be LED, super energy efficient, and at least have red. Also for lights, we have navigation lights, which we have new ones. We just need to install them on the boat. They're already on the boat. And we got the mast light here, which I need to verify works. It looks like it works. If it does work, we're good to go. If not, it'll be about 60 bucks. All right, I realized that we're moving kind of slow through this list here, so I'm going to kind of pick up the pace a bit here. We're going to go through what's left of the electrical just real quick. So we got 8 USB charging ports. I currently have, I think, 3 or 4 in the e-bike kit. I want one on each side of each settee, so one aft, one fore, on both port and starboard, so that's a total of 4, 2 ports each. And then I want 2 up front in the V-berth. Again, 1 port, 1 starboard, about centered. 1 on the counter for charging cameras and stuff while we're underway for recording and stuff, and then 1 out in the cockpit if I can find a waterproof one, so we can charge phones and play music and stuff while underway. Weather radio here is like the CB radio on the boat. We have one in the boat. I need to verify if it works. If it doesn't, that's going to be at minimum 113 bucks from what I saw on Amazon. Shore power adapter and shore power battery charger for the lithium ion phosphate batteries that we have. The e-bike that I built was 100% self-sufficient, could go about 100 miles a day. So I didn't include a shore power for that. If the batteries died, the plan was just sit and let them recharge. So we need that. The shore power adapter that's currently on the boat is rotten, so it needs to be replaced. Obviously, we need a refrigerator or freezer combo, Dometic, or we could do a house one if we can find one that's not too energy hungry. Fans, I listed for bathroom and V-berth, but fans in general to move the air around in the cockpit so it's not quite so suffocating. 13 and 14 here, this is future proofing, so this is not stuff we plan on buying immediately, but the reason it's here is to include it in the wiring diagram and the wiring harness. I already know where I want them to go in the boat. We got TV and DVD player for those longer passages. I'm a movie buff, need to have my TV, DVD players. May nix this for the tablet or a laptop, which we should have anyway. Starlink, cell repeater, and Wi-Fi is so I can upload from like remote locations, but we don't need that until we're way underway, so we can put that on the back burner until YouTube partnership. The different wires and gauges and headers and connections, bus bars, stuff like that, we need to figure out, but we need to figure that out after we do the wiring harness, so we can calculate amperage draws and all of that for the different runs, so we know which gauges and stuff. I don't know why this 15's messed up. That's funny, I'll fix that. Chart plotter / tablet. I have it listed like this because a lot of coastal cruisers just use something like a Samsung tablet with downloaded charts for navigation. Some of the chart plotters are 400 to 1500, some of which include like depth sounders and stuff. So I gotta do research into this. I know we'll have a tablet in the build anyway to control the LED strip lightings and the puck lights. So we'll probably go the tablet route for at first, and then upgrade to a chart plotter down the line. Then we've got the obligatory breaker panel, fuse box, main breaker type deal. Again, we need to do out the wiring diagram and figure out everything before we know how many of each of these we need. Alright, on to the plumbing section. So most of the plumbing in the boat, with the exception of like the 1-inch hose, is pretty checked and dry rotted. I'll include some footage here of that. So we're going to do new hose throughout the boat, even the 1-inch hose with the exception of maybe the bilge line, just because I don't want to be drinking water through a nasty, 54-year-old hose. So we got 50 foot of 1-inch hose to redo that, got 22 feet of 2-ish inch hose. I got to remeasure that just to make sure for like the cockpit drains and the sink and stuff. We're just going to do new hose throughout. We're doing new through holes as well. We'll do new valves for the through holes, just so we know the water's going to stay out. We're going to go through and check the status of the internal water tank that the boat already has. Previous owner said it was nasty, and from what I've read, that's fairly common. There is a 120 liter water bladder that needs to be installed, currently already in the boat. So either we'll have 2 water tanks or we'll have 120 liters. I'm going to put in a water pump on the freshwater side for an outdoor shower, and one of the 2 faucets in the sink. We're going to do freshwater and saltwater on that. And we need new fuel lines, fuel tanks, and a primer bulb for the outboard install. So that does it for the plumbing section. All right, on to mechanical. First and foremost, this is where the majority of the money for the build is going to go. Most of the stuff is broken or outright missing. To start, our current Atomic 4 is sitting on the deck inside of the boat. There's no prop shaft, no prop, and the hole has been glassed over. So we're going to go with an outboard on a mounting bracket. We want that bracket to travel at least 11 inches. More is better. That way we can lift the motor up out of the water when we want it to sail, so it's not creating drag. We need a throttle cable to get it to that spot. The boat currently has a throttle cable in it. I have not measured it. It's going to be a hassle to pull it out. I will measure it. The cable does seem to function. So that's $50 if we can't use the one that's on it. Next up is the alcohol stove. Now everybody has told me that the alcohol stoves are the way to go and the older ones are the better ones. My only experience with them is watching YouTube videos of them exploding on people. So we're going to put new gaskets and seals in it and verify it works, and stick with that alcohol stove. The next portion here is the anchor chain, windlass, and anchor holder. We're going to go with 100 feet of 3/8 anchor chain, with a very particular anchor that was recommended by the Alberg 30s owners group on Facebook. I'll put a picture of that anchor here. A windlass to lift it. I would prefer an electric one. It's to be determined. $1,000+ for an electric winch from what I was seeing on Amazon. And the anchor holder, which we have, I don't know how we're going to mount it. We may end up installing a bowsprit just for the anchor. Onto the scary part, and not necessarily that expensive, but probably the single most structurally important repair we need to do. The mast beam repair. So the main beam in the boat that holds up the mast is delaminated. It's very common with these older Alberg sailboats. The way to repair it, according to everybody, is a couple of aluminum plates on either side of the beam, and then epoxying the beam back together using a jack to lift it up, squeezing the epoxy out, letting that cure, and then bolting those two aluminum plates with 11 3/4-inch bolts that are 6 inches long to squeeze it to take some of the pressure off that beam. That needs to be repaired and needs to be determined. I have a link up with a local metal supplier, so I can probably get the aluminum plates cut for cheaper than I could buy them. Next up is new cleats. There's approximately 10 cleats across the boat. I want to replace them all. Not that I think they're broken, they all look serviceable with the exception of some S cleats up front, but newer the better. Speaking of S cleats, I don't actually know what these are called. I will put a clip or photo here. If you guys know what these are called, please let me know. I can't find them anywhere. I'm sure they have a special name. Let me know in the comments so I can find these and get a price. Cam cleats or other line holders, so our winches aren't held up while we're underway, especially for single-handing this in the future. Those are a necessity. Rigging, halyards, and sheets. Now, I got a quote, which was for the old mast. It was for $500 for new halyards and sheets and some extra rope. I'll probably end up just buying a spool or two of the rope, and we'll cut those ourselves to try to save some money. Sails. The single biggest expense of the whole project is here. So when we grabbed the boat, we saw through the little crack that we could see into the boat what looked to be a sail bag up front. It ended up being the sail bag for the mast. There are no sails on the boat. I did price out new sails for the old mast. It was $2,500 for the mainsail and $1,500 for the jib, and I did not look up the spinnaker, but we're assuming $5,000 to $7,000 for new sails across the boat, especially with it being a larger mast than the original. However, I did get in contact with the original owner of the boat, and he's willing to part with the sails he has for the current mast, the new mast, for about $1,700. Great deal. I fully intend on taking him up on that. We need a new tiller handle. You can get one on Amazon for about $200, but I think we'll make one. I think that'll make an interesting video. Hydrovane, again, planning on single-handing a bunch, and we want to bounce around Caribbean islands. So autopilot is great. Hydrovane will work. The cheapest hydrovane I could find was about $2,500 on Facebook Marketplace. Wind vane, which technically isn't necessary, but I feel like it'll help quite a bit. I found one on Amazon for about $40 with good reviews. And then blocks, pulleys, clips, and clasps, miscellaneous deck hardware, most of which that's on the boat. I'll include a photo here. Definitely needs to be replaced. I only took a cursory glance, but $200+ for sure, probably closer to $1,000. That does it for the mechanical section. On to miscellaneous. Alright, on to the miscellaneous stuff. This will expand probably more than any other section here. It's only 12 bits, but they're very, very important bits for the most part. So interior paints and sealants, memory foam for the V-berth and the settees, fabric for that, either marine canvas or waterproof vinyl depending. Life vests, an air horn, a decent dinghy, a flare kit, a medical kit, which we'll make an entire video about building a medical kit before we splash, a floating lifeline, a compass, a life raft, and probably the single most important thing, an EPIRB, an emergency personnel response beacon. I don't actually remember what it stands for, but it's you press a button and the Coast Guard comes helps. That does it for the miscellaneous section. Up next we go over what the plan is, how to move forward, and at the end of the video here, just before the blooper reel, I will give a breakdown of each category and a total for how much we know it's going to cost so far. Alright, so the plan. The plan moving forward is in flux. I made this little document here just real quick to give you guys something to look at while I ramble. I have a general order for how I want things to go moving forward with the rebuild, but the order is subject to change. The first big thing is making the diagrams for the electrical and the plumbing systems. That way we're not wasting effort moving things later when we find out they didn't work. After that, we're installing what we have of the electrical, so the solar panels, the charge controller, the batteries. I got a couple of switches and USB ports and stuff that we can install. That way we can wire the automatic builds to run when we're not there, so I don't have to worry about rainstorms anymore. We can also install fans for moving air around, so it's less stifling and I can spend more time working and making better quality videos. And I can also charge my camera equipment. From there, we move on to structural stuff, like aft chain plate needs to be replaced. Alberg 30's chain plates were undersized and the bolts were too small, so they had an issue with them pulling through. It's a very easy fix. Just upsize the plate material and upsize the bolts. Most of them on the boat have already been done. The previous owner knew of the issue. I don't think he completed the process because the aft one has not been reinforced and upsized yet. Then it's onto the mast beam. Again, subject to change here. Get the mast beam repaired. Once that's done, I want to move on to either the mechanical, so the install of the outboard and fuel tanks and fuel lines, or through holes and valves. The motor install is fairly self-explanatory. We're going to do through holes and valves throughout the boat. We'll patch any valve that we determine we don't need. We'll patch the through hole entirely with fiberglass, and switch out all of the existing naval bronze ones with stainless steel and put marine grade valves on them. We will be using the original hoses that are on the boat for now. If they do fail, we can just close the valve, so it won't be too big of an issue. We will be replacing all of the hosing in the boat later. After we get the major watertight on the base done, we can move on to installing other systems that we already have for the boat. The cassette toilet, the 120 liter water bladder, and various other bits and bobs that we have. Then I want to move topside and fix and probably replace both of the hatches on the top side. The aft one leaks and the fore one weighs about 30 pounds more than it should. And I'd like that one to have a window. We'll get the top sealed, all of the leaks. We'll do all new sealant all the way around, then prime and paint it. Once the top's done, we'll move to the bottom. It does have a new coat of paint and anti-foul on it. It is a decade old, but it's never seen the water. So if you guys know if I'm good to leave that paint, let me know down in the comments below. I am not sure. So I'm planning to just redo the paint and anti-foul. After that, we move on to the mast. So the current mast for the boat is new to the boat. It's been cut to height, but I don't know if the stays have been cut to the correct length, and I need to verify that all the systems on it work. I think it's got 3 winches, a couple of cleats, it's got a navigation light, like a deck light, and the antenna for the VHF. So verify all that works. We need to make a new mast footing and a new mast boot for it. The current boot is rotted, and the mast footing that we have is for the old mast. It's undersized for the new mast. New mast is like 10 feet taller than the old one. So at that point, once we get the mast sorted and the boat waterproof, we are good to splash. We can focus on creature comforts, fleshing out the electrical and the extra plumbing, going to a pump toilet, and all of that once we're in the water. When we're in the water, I want to spend a little while just motoring, a couple of 2-3 day stints motoring around, and then install the rigging and the sheets, the sails, etc., and learn how to sail. I don't know how to sail currently, so we're going to treat it like a motorboat first. Okay, the section everybody clicked on the title of this video for. It's not clickbait, I promised. So I've broken down each section into a total, and then I've totaled those totals together for an overall total. A lot of these numbers are expected to go up because there's a lot of stuff on the list that I have not sourced or priced out or determined brands on. Take everything with a grain of salt here. Electrical being our first set of systems here, sitting at $3,389 plus. A big portion of that expense is solar panels, charge controller, and batteries, USB ports, stuff like that. We have some of that, so this number actually will go down for the most part. It'll come back up when we add in the price of new wire and some of the other big stuff that we're missing down the line. So $3,389 for electrical. $906 is for everything we've priced out currently on the plumbing. That does not include the 2-inch or 1-inch hose that we need, and like a water heater or something we want to add in late. And I need to source out marine valves for everything, so this number will go up considerably here. I think the 2-inch hose that I spotted quick was like $50 a foot. I'm sure I can find a better deal than that somewhere, but so 22 feet times $50. Plumbing number is going to go up significantly, sitting at $906. Mechanical is the biggest single expense on the boat. A big chunk of that money is new sails. I am in contact with the previous owner of the boat. He does have sails. He's offered me a great deal, like $5,000 to $7,000 for new sails for it. He's offering the ones he got, including a brand new mainsail for $1,700. So this number actually may go down, which is nice, but $11,891 is the rough mechanical number. Could go down, could go up depending on what I can source. In the miscellaneous category, this number will go up. This list is not exhaustive. There's a ton of miscellaneous stuff that needs to be added. I'm expecting the 2,200 number that we have to probably at least double. Sandpapers, epoxies, sealants, paints, all of that's going to be really expensive and needs to be added to this list. But for what's on the list and what I've sourced, our total cost is at $18,482 plus. Again, subject to change. Now that we've gone over this, there's something I really wanted to cover with you guys for complete transparency's sake here. If you're looking at buying a sailboat or rebuilding a free boat, there's nothing in this world more expensive than a free boat. You can get a 30-foot sailboat. There was actually a guy like 2 weeks ago on the Alberg 30s group that got an Alberg 30 with sails, working engine, that it's underway. You could drop it in the water and go. He picked it up for $2,500, and it even included a hydrovane, which is brand new. They start at like $2,500. So you can get a capable sailboat in this size range and age range that's in a lot better condition for a lot less than we're going to put into this. This particular boat, set up the way that I'm trying to set it up for blue water sailing. I've seen 2 for sale in the last month or two. One's up for $12,500, another's up for $10,000. They are rigged perfectly. They have new lines and their parts complete. They're ready to jump in and just go live aboard. That being said, the reason I am taking this boat, and the only reason I considered this as a project, was the hull was in good shape. It's close to my house, so I can walk down and work on it every single day. and what it needs and how it's set up aligns perfectly for my YouTube channel. So this is a business investment. I will never be able to sell it for more than I put into it. Flipping it or even maintaining value is a bad call on this. I took it because I want to make a YouTube video series on rebuilding a sailboat. I want to explore the world. I want to live my bucket list, and sailing is a big portion of my bucket list. So for content's sake, the boat makes sense knowing the cost it's going to get into it. If you plan on getting your own boat, a free boat, or purchasing one, dig around. There's some great deals out there for stuff that's a lot better off. That being said, I think that's a good point to end this portion of the video. Got a really short blooper reel coming up next. Just some of the incidents so far, and it's probably going to be slapped together pretty funny. Thank you guys if you made it this far. Thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. All of that really helps the channel grow. And I'll see you guys next week. Ow! Oh, you know how many times I've stabbed myself on this engine? Oh, I need to get that out of here. A little itty bitty rope, but oh my god, that string almost killed me. Itty bitty rope. Oh my god, that string almost killed me. There's a bee. So this week on Brain Dead Stupid Person Trying to Make YouTube Videos, he picks up the script 150 times and then gets frustrated. That we can replace with items I already have will be pushed to the back of the list. What am I seeing in the background? Glass on the boat, anything that comes up while we're doing the other installs.